Joe Biden, as you may well be aware, is the most popular president in the history of the United States, by a large margin as well. And this has been manifested from back in September, at the start of September, with the chant that has been going around at college football games that was F Joe Biden. Let's play an example. So that's just, people chanting how much they love their dear president. This carried on for weeks. In the particular New York Post report, for the second straight week, F Joe Biden chants have broken out of college football games across the country. There have been multiple instances recorded and shared across social media throughout the weekend slate of games. So this is a popular meme for some reason. And there were lots and lots of examples of this. Fox News documented a bunch. If you just want to scroll down this one, you can just see all of the, again, full stadiums with lots of people chanting F Joe Biden. And Donald Trump Jr. predicted this trend would continue because nobody likes Biden, it seems. When you look at Afghanistan, and I can go through 50 points on it, billions of equipment left to our enemies, giving them a kill list of American citizens, biometric scanners, blah, 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 the list goes on. So, there's lots of reasons why people might be enchanted with the Biden presidency. And then this basically got around to Joe Biden. And so on 9/11, the 20th anniversary, he was asked, what did he think of it? And this was his response.
I'm thinking of, what are the people who died? What would they be thinking? They think this makes sense for us to be doing this kind of thing where you ride down the street and someone has a sign saying F so-and-so, or, it's not who we are.
Now, I would say maybe it's a little bit gross to try and play on the dead to stop your political opponents being really outraged at the things that you're doing during your obviously legitimate presidency. But no, he's fine with that. It's just, what would the dead think? I don't know. I'm not going to make any more comments about that. Anyway, so come October, it starts breaking out into what I guess we'll call the mainstream, which is the NFL games. And so on Sunday, the Old Row Twitter account shared videos of F Joe Biden chants, post another clip of the chant being heard during the New York Jets game against the Tennessee Titans game on Sunday. I don't follow whatever NFL is, so whatever sport that is, American football, I assume. I think it is. Mm-hmm. But the account also tweeted smaller chants being sung at unnamed live music venues and outdoor performances. It was also heard at the Ryder Cup as fans celebrated the team's victory over the Europeans on September the 25th. So quite widespread resistance to the Biden administration, popular resistance, and it turned out to be something of a unifying force, as there was video of baseball fans exiting Citi Field in New York, with both Yankees and Mets fans coming together to boisterously chant F Joe Biden. The great unifier. Yes, I mean, normally that's not the sort of thing you can really do, get opposing teams to be on the same side on something. I mean, they are there to oppose each other, and yet this was more important. And even in his hometown of Scranton, there was an F Joe Biden chant. He passed through in a motorcade, and he was welcomed by people lining the streets chanting F Joe Biden. A group of people with the American flag and several pro-Trump flags yelled that as the president entered Scranton. He was visiting the Commonwealth to push his Build Back Better proposal. And this transmogrified into the more, I guess we'd say, conservative-friendly phrase, let's go Brandon, because of a mistake that was made at a NASCAR event. Let's play the clip.
Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first two stages and just watch and learn. What did you learn that helped you there in those closing laps?
So what's happening is there's a race car driver called Brandon, and he's being interviewed about the race he's just gone through, and the crowd are chanting F Joe Biden, and it's very audibly F Joe Biden. And so the reporter, the NBC reporter, is like, well, look, they're chanting let's go Brandon, and everyone's like, obviously not. I mean, it's such an obviously transparent attempt to cover up the fact that Joe Biden is the most popular president ever.
Yeah.
And so this Let's Go Brandon meme took over the internet. This was everywhere. And this was apparently that one was at the Talladega Super Speedway, where Brandon Brown had won a NASCAR race. and sportscaster Kelly Stavast had asked him about it. And so this went everywhere. If we can scroll down, I think they've got some examples of it in here. Oh, no, they don't. They're just talking about the backstory. But that's fine. But you can see, like, it's getting everywhere. It's just become a popular meme among people who dislike Joe Biden. And so this even made it to the Congressional House. If we get to the next one. Republican Representative Bill Posley of Florida took to the House floor and blasted President Biden's Build Back Better economic agenda as being unable to pass a straight face test because his Build Back Better bill is laughable and is going to liquidate the American economy. Based on the false premise that he would unite America, President Biden got into the Oval Office. Well, in his defense, he does seem to have done some uniting. And my friends on the other side of the aisle gained the razor-thin majority in the House and Senate, and he concluded this speech by saying that Americans want Democrats to help put America back where you found it and leave it the hell alone. Let's go, Brandon. Which is quite the act of resistance. This became a popular song that was all over the internet. A chap called Bryson Gray wrote a song called Let's Go Brandon, mocking President Joe Biden, and that went to #1 on the iTunes chart. It got millions of views on YouTube. Again, people aren't very happy with Joe Biden, are they? This song takes swipes at the president over chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, the situation on the border, his cognitive abilities, and the handling of the pandemic. And then that was what got it yeeted from YouTube, apparently. You go to the next one. This was deleted from YouTube because apparently it had medical misinformation in it.
What was the medical information involved?
Yeah, there wasn't any medical information involved in the song. Nothing to do with that. It's all to do with his tyrannical approach to lockdowns, I believe.
Right.
But like I said, I couldn't go to YouTube to listen to the song because they'd censored it.
What a shame.
But definitely not done because it was kind of public humiliation for Joe Biden. And there's definitely no left-leaning bias at YouTube.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, the author, Bryson Gray, just posted to Twitter going, well, what medical misinformation's in it? Give me some information. He got striked for this, so he couldn't publish anything for a week. So thanks, YouTube. That's nice. But what kind of reaction should the Biden administration have to this Let's Go Brandon meme? What do you think?
Well, if I were them, I would go along with it because it's quite funny, and I don't see anything they've got to gain from actually trying to resist it.
I'd probably just ignore it. I'd probably just be like, yeah, look, we're just, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. We're committed Democrats. We're really in favor of the system as it is, and we're not radical lunatics. But that would be a normal thing to do. Instead, what the Biden administration did was what I would dare say deeply cynical, and the sort of thing that I suppose a man who stood on the graves of the victims of 9/11 would do as well. So recently, 2 days ago, Biden's POTUS account on Twitter posted a video of him with a disabled man called Brandon.
Right.
What an interesting coincidence that is.
Yes, indeed.
He says, I'm fighting every day to pass my Build Back Better agenda for folks like Brandon. His story is like so many I've heard across the country, folks just looking for a fighting chance to be treated with the dignity they deserve. And that's what my agenda is all about.
Yeah.
Really. So you're gonna not address the people who are concerned that they don't like your presidency, they don't like the things you're doing.
This is a few steps further than just accepting a joke at your expense, isn't it?
Yes. And I mean, there are lots of legitimate complaints about what Biden is doing, his executive presidency, and the scale of what he's trying to achieve. I mean, he is the most popular president in history, so maybe you could make that argument.
Yeah.
But he's not making that argument. He's just powering through anyway. And his presidency seems to be vaguely false in many ways. Like you remember the picture of the false White House where he got his vaccine. It was weird. Why have a set? You actually have the White House. Like, you are the president. Why not just do it there? Why get a false one?
It makes no sense at all.
No, and various other things like this. But I find this deeply, deeply cynical, attempting to essentially subvert the meme by hiding behind a disabled person called Brandon, who, of course, agrees with absolutely everything Joe Biden is doing. But the thing is, what happens if you successfully subvert the Let's Go Brandon meme? Well, they're just going to revert to what it was before.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
so people yesterday just returned to chanting F Joe Biden, this time in New York. So video footage of New York City shows thousands of police, fire, EMS, and other city workers protesting against vaccine mandates, calling out Democrat Mayor Bill de Blasio and President Joe Biden by name, and showing support for Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. The footage of the protest shows a large contingent of protesters moving throughout the city, chanting various slogans in unison, like "Hold the line," "F Joe Biden," "F de Blasio," "We will not comply," and "We want Curtis." So, not really the optics win I think the Biden administration was going for here.
No.
But they haven't had many optics wins generally, have they?
No.
I mean, we're not very impressed with how they're handling things. And again, there seems to be this bizarre feeling in the Biden administration, and this was highlighted by Psaki the other day, where she was asked, well, like, how can are you guaranteeing that this $3.5 trillion bill is going to do nothing to the national debt? And she's like, yes. I was like, well, how can Americans take your word for that? It's like, because they can.
And they just will.
Yeah, they just will. And it's like, right, but further committing to the narrative doesn't make the narrative true, and it doesn't persuade people. It just makes it look like you're kind of out of touch with reality, and you don't have any particular other avenues to go down to explore. If you're just going to write, I'm stopping here and I'm just holding my line here and I don't care what your criticisms are, I mean, it makes you look vaguely dictatorial, to be honest.
Well, yeah, it's an unashamed public attempt to thicken the skin suit.
Yeah,
really.
It is, yeah. And just to be clear on Psaki's wonderful rebuttal on it just won't cost more money, yeah, it will. Because, I mean, they're thinking, well, what we're going to do is tax people. And in fact, we should have covered this, actually. I should have got this up, but it only came up, I think it was yesterday. Was it Biden's economic minister who wants to tax uncashed gains, capital gains, where basically is if you bought your house for 100,000 and you could now sell it for 300,000, they want to tax the money you haven't cashed in on.
Right.
Yes. It's mad. But this, I mean, it's just a suggestion. I'm sure they're not insane enough to do it. But the point being is that they're looking at these ridiculous prospects to start raising funds because they know they're not going to be able to cover all of this.
Yeah.
Whenever you say it's the Laffer curve. In fact, someone corrected me the other day. It's the Laffer curve that is just a calculation that shows that basically when you think, okay, I'm going to raise taxes to get more money, well, you don't get as much money as you're expecting to get because people start moving their assets. They start taking their money out of the system, so you can't tax it. And so them saying, well, we're just going to raise taxes on the rich, quote unquote, whoever that means, well, that's going to be anyone with any kind of resources in the end because they're not going to raise the money they're expecting. So they know they're lying.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just a short thing there because we've got a much longer thing to get into later. So yes, Joe Biden trying to subvert the meme in a really gross way.
Yeah. I mean, he is almost unifying the country in a way that's nearly as effective as Donald Trump did, but in the reverse.
Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full thing at 1 p.m. every weekday at lotuseaters.com, or you can sign up to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff. Every week we have a Contemplations and Epochs episode that goes up, and in the Contemplations we talk about just interesting things, and the Epochs episodes are probably my favourite because I love talking about history. This latest one is we're doing a bit of a series on the 100 Years' War and why England kept winning. And we've not finished it yet, and you're going to really enjoy the end of that one. But we've also got other excellent episodes that we do, like the book club. The most recent one was Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell. This was about his time in Burma as a colonial officer, and when he was tasked with the shooting of a rampaging elephant. And it's really, really interesting what the circumstance of the thing was. But we also have lots of other content, such as premium articles, which have audio tracks on them for our silver and gold subscribers. And we do premium podcasts about things that we don't really feel that we can put on YouTube or have done a particularly large amount of research into. And so it's worth keeping them slightly more private. And we also do lots of very interesting interviews, such as this one with comedian Steve Hughes, which was really fascinating because I didn't expect him to be a philosopher. But anyway.
Yeah. Also, the last thing to mention is the live event content we have. So we occasionally, when we get around to it, doing our live events, and the videos from them are on the website as premium, of course, because people came to see and paid. So go and check that out. This is on the worst of critical race theory.
Yes.
And I do mean the worst.
It's unconscionable.
Yeah. So if you'd like access to all that premium content, go to lotuseaters.com and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.